Hello and welcome to Jason Cavness Experience. I'm your host, Jason Cavness. I'm also the founder and CEO of Cavness HR. At Cavness HR, we provide HR companies with 400 fewer people by providing a tech platform that automates HR while providing access to a dedicated HR business partner. And I want to welcome you to the Jason Cavness Experience Ho Chi Minh City edition. We're doing the podcast live in person for Earth BC in Ho Chi Minh City. Earth BC is on a mission to unfuck the Earth. They're doing this by supporting breakthrough scientific research, empowering outlier founders to build enduring climate businesses, and invest in high-growth startups that decarbonize the world. Earth VC empowers founders who are ambitious, breakthrough, and are committed. Earth VC invests in a pre-seed to Series A round. If you think you might be a fit, reach out to them at rebuild@earth.vc. Our guest today is Cris Tran. Cris, thanks for being here today.
Yes, me too, me too. Welcome to Vietnam.
Yes, thank you.
Jason.
It's crazy how those are like some people always have something similar. And so you went to school at SMU, and I'm from Texas, right?
Yes.
And so how do you end up? Did you like were you living in Texas at the time? Like how did that come about? Because SMU is not an easy school to get into. I don't think.
It's true, and it's getting better and better. Especially, like for football this year, we're doing so well in the state. We got into the playoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't too well.
Yeah. I think it's a bit too bright for them, but that's part of the growing. They getting better next year, especially if you have all of these oil and gas money around you.
I'm also my age. I remember when back in the days of Pony Express, Eric Dickerson, and all the death penalty money and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's funny how all of that become kind of like the new norms right now. And but for SMU it's not new, so they know how to do it.
Yeah, SMU did when it was illegal, and now they're doing when it was legal.
Yeah. So now it's illegal. So watch me. Yeah.
I mean, SMU has so much oil money. Like, all the schools in Texas have so much oil money, right? It's insane.
I guess for me it's it's true that when you go back to Asia, I think the Asian families are still familiar more with school from the up north, like the Boston, and then on the west side, like California. Not so many are there, heard of SMU. I think a lot of people have heard of SMU because they carry the same name with a school also very famous in Singapore named SMU as well, but it's Singapore Management University. So when people search about SMU, probably that school pop up first. So people in Asia don't tend to know about SMU, but whenever I actually encounter American partner, they're like, okay, you're from SMU. I mean, it's very well known for law and
it's pretty much like I think the richest part of Dallas, like Highland Park, is like really rich people live there.
Actually, even myself was shocked at one of the statistics is that actually they rank top 10 in top Fortune 500 CEO producer. So it's not bad at all. I mean, consider all of the above 9 Ivy Leagues and everything. Yes.
Yeah. So you had a pretty good experience in the Dallas area.
Yes. I did play soccer there as well. Did a tryout with SMU as well, but that's when you realize, oh my God, their legs is much longer than me. So their strike, you don't feel it until you get in that together with all of your competition. So one of their strike is equals two of my strike. So you run much slower than them. Yes.
Yeah. And how many years were you at in Texas?
Just 4. So
I
I got quite a interesting journey regarding my education and then working as well. So I start off my overseas study in Singapore for high school.
And you're originally from Vietnam, right?
Yes, I was born and raised here.
Okay.
So I did my high school in Singapore, and then my undergrad in the States with SMU, and then I got a full ride scholarship from the government to go to New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
For my master, and all of that is in finance.
Okay.
Yes, but for the past 10 years, probably I'm more well known for a technology guy now.
So have you been back to Texas or States since you left SMU?
No, surprisingly not. Actually, I was back to the state after 10 years, just only last year for a business trip as well.
Okay.
Yes.
So you were there 10 years ago in Texas?
No, way more than that. I think I graduate 11.
Okay. Yeah. So what can you remember some pros and cons of living in Texas that you tell people about, some good times, maybe bad times? I'm from Texas. I love Texas, but I know there's some bad things in Texas too.
I think Texas in general, I think it's quite big.
Mhm.
That's why it's very, spread around in terms of everything, like distance, travel, people, location, and everything. But Dallas alone is quite a busy, metroplex, which is, I think, nice enough
Mhm.
when you put it into like American standard. Like you don't want it to be like Iowa, but you don't want it to be like New York as well. So I think Dallas is right there, right in the middle. I think so. I think it will attract the, I wouldn't say average, but like the normal norms people, like they will feel just nice there. And of course, we do have like cold weather sometime, really hot weather, of
Yeah,
course,
yeah. People
guaranteed.
don't realize that it gets freaking freezing cold in
Oh my
Texas, right?
God. I mean,
They
like,
don't realize
yeah, they
that.
didn't realize that.
No, it's
They
it's
didn't
like
realize
ice
that.
and snow
Yes.
and like yeah, it gets cold there.
I still remember, during my years there, driving, under the snow, and then we got like freeze road, like early morning as well. And snow was like can be a bit thick as well. Like of course, you can't compare with like Boston and
Mhm.
everything, but not bad, not bad, not bad, not bad.
No, no,
Not-
not much snow, but that freezing cold or something. Yeah,
And but I guess, job and market are quite okay as well,
hmm
like when it comes to Texas.
yeah.
Um,
Texas knows about being pro business, like no state
yes,
income tax, low
yes,
taxes.
yes, yes.
Yeah, I know. So I was born and raised in Texas, but I was in the army for 25 years, and I haven't really been there like recently, right? I go
Mm.
there once a year, but like, yeah, but like I miss the barbecue, of course, the water burger, the bluebell ice cream,
A state fair.
the state fair, yeah,
Yeah.
the state fair, yeah,
No one does it like Texas.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, yeah. So moving on, so this can be like pretty maybe an ignorant question, some simplistic question, but
Mm-mm.
can you break down like Bitcoin versus blockchain versus cryptocurrency? Like are these all the same things or under umbrella of blockchain? Like how does it all come together?
Um, I would say, like they are related and overlap in some sense, but if we go, from the top, like in terms of general knowledge, cryptocurrency and Bitcoin both belonging to the blockchain technology. So cryptocurrency or even Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin does carry that, cryptocurrency definition.
Mhm.
We talk about that a bit later, but basically blockchain is the mother technology of all of that. So depends on what you build on the blockchain. Then sometimes you have cryptocurrency, sometimes you have real world asset, and sometimes you have a games, and sometimes you have meme coin, for example.
Like, so can anyone like start a cryptocurrency? Because like, so there's a lady, her name's Haley, I think Haley Welch. She got famous for doing like a meme on TV one time.
Yes.
She became kind of famous, and she would see there's some kind of cryptocurrency, but then it ended up being a scam, right?
Mm-mm.
Like, can anyone just sort of like, how does that even work, right? Like, do you have no backing of a bank or like financial institute? Just like, hey, I'm Jason Cavness. Here's a Jason coin. Like, it's insane to me.
It's true. It's true. I think, like cryptocurrency does carry a lot of that, like component from the traditional money that we're using every day, from, like US dollar to Vietnam dong to everything. But for now, besides all of the very strict country like US, Hong Kong, Singapore, some country with the regulation around cryptocurrency, basically there's no rules yet for cryptocurrencies. And that sometimes means that people can take advantage and build something that, and you mentioned about it, it can be either a scam, or if not a scam, it can be a very poor performance, like let's say payment instrument, for example. And I wouldn't say it's the best part of cryptocurrency, but I think it bring people back to the pre, like global money kind of, like integration and everything. So you have a chance to really create your own sort of value and bring it up or down, depends on what you do. So, and technology wise, it's really that anyone really can create its own, like cryptocurrency, and that's a dangerous part. Yes.
And these cryptocurrencies, like, is someone like tracking how many there are out there? Like, do you track them in like something like called a wallet or in a
We can, we
blockchain?
can, we can, we can.
Okay.
I think we mentioned about the negative part
Mhm.
so far, but I think on the bright part, like the best thing about cryptocurrency is it's highly transparent, almost like 100%, meaning that if you build something on a blockchain, all of the transaction and the design of the product should be available for public to view, meaning that uh, go back to that example of yours, right? I'm creating you creating JSON coin,
Mhm.
right? 1 million of them.
Mhm.
That 1 million are fully displayed to the public, view and everything. And let's say you're sending 20% of that to a person and then another 30% to another different person. All of that are publicly viewed by the people. So if I look at your coin, I know exactly who are not who, but like which wallets are holding those coin and what is the transaction, like percentage. Are you like, are your coin like highly transacted, like in the market or not, or something like that. Um, so those statistics and performance are visible for everyone. So with that example, right, it does carry a lot of, like trust and, good, meaningful data if you design the product around the blockchain the right way. So, yep.
So correct me if I'm wrong. I'm kind of making this up. Like suppose like the U.S. economy.
Mm-mm.
Suppose the U.S. economy has like a $100 trillion, right?
Yes.
The U.S. government can like print $100 trillion more dollars more,
Mm-mm.
so there's $200 trillion. But on the blockchain, it's a set amount, right? That doesn't increase or decrease, correct?
Uh, it depends as well. That's a very good question. So, regarding token, we always have two type. So when you set it's a fixed amount, or normally it's the token type that have limited supply. So in this case, Bitcoin is limited supply. So I think if I'm not wrong, we have around um 21 millions or something like that Bitcoin available, and all of that have to be mined until the end. And right now, I think we are two-thirds of the way to mine all of that Bitcoin available. So that is one of the example of limited supply token. Then you have a lot of the other type of token that can be used for like daily utility, daily transaction. So you should not like limit the amount of token to be very fixed, because when you have a fixed supply and more demand, the price of the token keep going up, and sometimes it create inconvenience for people who hold the token, for example. Then we have the second type, which is the unlimited supply type of token. So depends on what token you're looking at. Sometimes they limited, sometimes they are unlimited.
And so you mentioned mining, right? I
Mm,
think a criticism of Bitcoin and blockchain is like the data mine actually takes out a lot of energy, right?
mm,
Like this is probably unrelated. This is probably more AI, but I know Microsoft recently bought 3 Mile Island in the States and want
mm.
to redo the nuclear plant that had a terrible accident, right?
Right, right.
So how much of this energy drain is a real concern?
Uh, Not much at all. So just like, I think I will use the example of car, like vehicle, is a very good example of how technology revolving from time to time. Um, I think I mean, for me, I'm looking at the book, right? I think for you, you are old enough to remember all of the car models from the US. Like back in the days, like take a lot of gas, the Ford Mustang,
Yeah.
like very masculine, take a lot of gas with them and everything. So just that gas engine has improved in terms of efficiencies, like from years to years already. And right now we even have like hybrid of gas and, like electrics and stuff like that. So go back to our cryptocurrency, like energy consumption concern, like of a lot of the people. So Bitcoin belongs to the first generation of, like cryptocurrency out there, like to be created. So of course, like there are a lot of unknown problem to be solved at that stage, and you can't really go back and change the way Bitcoin was firstly designed, right? But then you have a second generation of token, you have the third generation of token, and I think right now we are like around fourth generation. So they coming out with a lot of mechanism, I would say mechanism, to to be able to mine, like the token out of the platform the least energy consumed as possible. So we improving from time to time. Yes,
Can someone actually make a decent living being like a Bitcoin miner?
absolutely. Yes, actually, it's it can be both. I wouldn't say career, but it's actually
Like a night side hustle or something?
it's actually a very attractive business and investment in the early days, because at that time, right, uh, maybe not too far away, like 8 years ago, let's say, for the same amount of, I think, electric, you know, like the fees that you pay for electrics shouldn't change too much for the last 10 years. So for the same amount of electrics that you used like 10 years ago and today, you were able to mine way more Bitcoin in the past, right?
Yeah.
So the ratio of how you make good investment out of the same amount of electrics, like was good back then. But now a lot of people may jump into, like mining. You have to do the math carefully because you still probably use the same amount of electrics, but the number of Bitcoin coming back to you is way less, for example.
Yeah.
But if you own like a mining farm or a factory with a lot of, like mining machine and stuff like that, I think it's still, like a good business to jump in, but you have to do the math and
Okay.
everything carefully because it's not always come back like positive, I would say. Yeah.
So do NFTs, are they involved in this thing? Can I was NFT, that's like a completely different subject.
It's I would say it's a different feature that
Okay.
blockchain bringing in. So um, I think a good example, I think we mentioned about cryptocurrency and then we have NFT as well. So I think cryptocurrency is just like our money, right? If you have Bitcoin, your one Bitcoin uh, can be similar and exactly the same value as my one Bitcoin. Then, so there's 21 millions of them out there, right? But for the NFT, when we say NFT, it's non-fungible token. And make it short, that NFT will stand for like it's the only version of itself. So even if you own a similar look NFT as I do, your NFT ID should be number one, and my NFT ID should be number two. It never can be misplaced with each other. So NFT is a technology feature that blockchain bring around. It's very convenient for the purpose of identifying a unique ID for some things. And this can be applied for people, can be applied for devices, can be applied for records, housing, anything that you think that it should carry a unique ID of its own. It's like your day of birth, your address. I mean, no freaking way that you should have a house that have a similar address with the other, right? So anything that carry that unique ID, it's an NFT. And that's why, like when you research, you normally see NFT popping up in a lot of cases for like gaming, arts, museum, stuff like that, because we need to ID these, like pictures, painting with a specific ID. So it's don't mix up with, like another painting or this ID painting is belong to this artist, for example. Yeah.
So who determines the value of an NFT? How's that determined? Is that like a wild wild west, so to speak, still?
It's a Wild Wild West.
Okay.
Yes. So because NFT is a unique state of its own, right? So how you build a value around something is really up for grab, but by design, right? So let's say you and me, right? We both artists, but you has been a very famous artist. You raw a cup. I also raw a cup, but I'm a no-name one.
Mhm.
So of course my cup can be zero in the market because no one knows about me and no one gonna pay for this cup. But because that cup has been raw by Jason, people willing to pay $5, for example. So just like global trade and supply and demand, it's really comes down to how you build value around the NFT sometime. And you can look at a few criteria. You can look at the utility of the NFT. So can I use this cup for any other purposes besides drinking? Can I give it to my friend? Can I use it as a ticket to go to Walt Disney? I mean, whatever, right? So utility. And then you can look at sentimental value, like let's say, right, I'm a famous artist and I wrote this cup before I die. So people can say like, oh my God, this is the last product that Chris has create in his life. It carries some sentimental value and people would like to collect it and, like, keep it as, like memories or something like that. So people willing to fight for it. So it does carry some sentimental value. Then the rareness of the utility. What if I told you like, I only raw 3 versions of this one and split it into 3 different NFT. That's it. That's it. I'm not gonna raw this one anymore. Just 3 of them. So if there are more than 3 buyers would like to collect this, of course the price of the NFT will goes up. So you reverse all of that, then you have the crashing mechanism of everything. Like too many supply, like there's a bunch of them.
No,
so
there's really 1,000 cups, not 3.
there's 1,000 of them, there's 10,000 of them. Okay, value goes down. I collect a cup, cannot use for anything, value goes down. And sentimental, like I'm a scammer and like you raw the cup. I think, oh my God, that cup belonged to a scammer, so value goes down as well. So it's very clear that, and it's very similar to, I think NFT does carry a lot of that character, just like like painting and artists. Like you look at some painting, it's look ridiculous, but like $10 million. I mean, sometimes you don't get the taste, right? But it doesn't matter. People are willing to pay 10 millions for it.
Didn't somebody sell like a banana duct tape a wall like a lot of money?
Yes.
Yeah, like man.
So, I don't know, but Jason, have you ever came across, like the I'm not so sure about, like other places, but in Asia, they have this, like some country, they have this orchid, like strategy, meaning that, I mean, it's similar to the banana, example that you mentioned, like Justin Sun, like the founder of Tran network actually bought it. So it's a relative small market with like a few cups like this, but you and me, we're colluded and we want to create like a fake market value for this.
Yeah.
So I wink my eyes, you bought it, and I bought it back from you, and then you bought it back from me. So we're gonna keep pushing the price of the cup like a bit high, and it attract enough. Like people are greedy, right? I mean, let's say in the nature of people, like people willing to, not greedy, but people love good investment. And when they see that, wow, the price of that keep going up, I mean, we may have a chance to earn something out of it, right? And then people jumping in, market crash. And I mean, it's applying not only for the NFT market or even blockchain cryptocurrency, but I think it's applied for a lot of the business out there. And it's just business manipulation. So you have to look carefully into the value of the product itself. Like, does it really make sense for people to pay that? Like, and I think the banana, I think he eat that banana after that. So what's the point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you track anything on the blockchain, or is it only for like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency?
No, everything. So if you design something on the blockchain, basically that thing will have a unique address or the unique ID to go together with it. And as long as you can type in that ID accurately, you always can find where is that token or where is that NFT where in this entire digital world. And that's the advantage of it, because like I give you a very simple example. So a lot of I can use Starbucks in the US, for example. So Starbucks actually did a project for NFT collection, just a simple, like Starbucks NFT collection. And because it's the collection itself is being built on the NFT, it's completely different from traditional way of doing marketing. Put it this way. In the past, like before blockchain, when you go to a Starbucks and people giving you like a souvenir for you to collect, for example, like a physical cup. If you bring that cup back to your home and you put it in the shelf, no one, and I mean no one can knows like where's that cup right now in the entirety of US, because it's completely untraceable, right? But now with the blockchain, Starbucks actually creating the digital version of the cup so that people can collect. So it's 1, 2, 3, all the way to like 1 million, let's say. and I was able to collect that cup. That cup number one NFT, it always can be tracked and displayed in the blockchain that actually the NFT cup number one is actually sitting in this wallet A or wallet B, or wallet A has claimed it, but then later send it as a gift to wallet B. It always can be traced and show. Yeah, it's very amazing. I mean, like if it's built on blockchain.
Is the blockchain quote unquote unhackable?
In theory, yes.
In theory.
In theory, yes. Um, and I think it close to 99% that's it's relatively unhackable. I can explain why. So the one of the main theory of especially Bitcoin when it first created, so it's called the how do I think it's called the gaming strategy or something like that. But what does it mean is that it will take the hackers more resources to actually hack and earn the rewards than you don't hack it. So if you want to hack it, meaning that you have to reverse something in the blockchain, and the cost for you to reverse all of that gonna outgain or outperform like the thing that you can collect after that. So it doesn't encourage people to hack it or tamper with the record, because what you may get after you tamper it is way less than the resource that you actually putting in to steal it. Like the game theory, for example. So it's like that. So it's not like it's unhackable, but it's take a lot of resource and a lot of consensus, like between all of the computer for you be able to do it. Yes.
So from your point of view, like, do you think cryptocurrency, blockchain, Bitcoin, this kind of stuff, do you think this is going to increase or decrease the gap between the haves and have-nots in the world?
Oh, absolutely. It's gonna reduce the gap. And I think people putting cryptocurrency along with the line like financial inclusion a lot. And I think you will see that trends more and more in such like country like Vietnam. I don't know, like since you're coming back here, did you notice that actually Vietnam has stayed on top of the crypto adoption index globally for above like 3-4 years, something like that, before dropping to like top two and top three for the last 2 years, just right after like Nigeria, Turkey, things like that. So we always in the top three, like crypto, like adoption index, meaning that like people coming from less developed country, of course, like with proper research, it still require proper research and understanding, but they absolutely can see that cryptocurrency is another way to really reduce the gap and close the gap, like with, like whatever happening out there. So that's why, like when you look at these, like crypto adoption index, it's not a surprise that the top 5, top 10, they carry the same character. Like these are like hungry, developing, not well established, economy yet. And there's a trend right there, because people can see that at the end of the horizon, right or wrong, I think cryptocurrency gonna slowly gonna become one of the financial alternative product out there, you want it or not. And I think the proof is that a lot of the investment firm, private equity firm in the US, they already start listing, like Bitcoin ETF, Ethereum ETF as one of the product within their basket right now. So it's happening slowly, either you want it or not. And I'm quite surprised that, like sometimes I have chance to talk to friends from like European, somewhere like very well developed, and they ask me like, okay, Chris, what do you do? And I said, like I have something to do with cryptocurrency, and many of them like, I have no idea what is that all about. And that part is exactly the opportunity of these, like developing country to adopt into these things earlier than, like the well-established country, because before everyone kind of realized how value it is, like the stuff that you can claim, the stuff that you can, uh, like buy for a lower price right now can worth a lot of money in the future.
Yes, I know in the Seattle area, like 2 or 3 years ago, all the hype was cryptocurrency, like there's all the cryptocurrency startups, like the Web3, all this kind of stuff. But it's kind of died down some, right? It's like the hype, like
Absolutely.
hype's died down. Like 2 or 3 years ago, you thought that everyone gonna have a cryptocurrency thing. Like,
Yep.
why do you think it died down so much so fast?
I think one of the I have to be frank, and I look at, like the blockchain industry, not crypto but like blockchain currency, because we have to put it this way. So a lot of the cryptocurrency out there is represent a project. It represent a product ideas that you promise to build, like so that's why you were able to raise and your token is worth this much of money, right? But I think the biggest challenge of the blockchain industry is that because sometimes there's not enough rules around the market right now, so it's very easy to either win very big or lose a lot. Meaning that, if you're lucky or sometimes you're good, you can make a good fortune out of it, and that sometimes doesn't carry a good meaning for building a proper product for the entire industry. And a very small percentage of the entire blockchain industry do not, like produce, like meaningful and quality product at the moment. So you keep seeing, like new token coming out, new ideas coming out, but hardly not enough, like quality product out there. So you see here, right, the sandbox actually, sandbox is one of the unicorn from the Web3 space right now, and they are right in the intersection between, like token, blockchain, and gaming as well. And they are still building their product, a very popular product right now, a game product, and not many, like famous blockchain project out there which does carry like like valuable token actually come out with anything yet. So it's just like any other investment market, right? You promise us something, but you haven't delivered it. So we don't have the reason to actually come back and reinvest in you, rather than, like sometimes, like it's like pump and dump of the market. And don't take it wrong, the pump and dump, the increase and the decrease of all of the investment market, it's rotating between markets, you want it or not. So it can move from stock market to real estate to trading to cryptocurrency and forex. So all of that are moving around. So and you have up and you have down, right? So but I think the biggest challenge, and for blockchain to make the next big step, like in terms of increase the size of the industry as a whole, is there must be more meaningful project out there that, like make people believe. And, you know, when you talk to your friends, this won't happen again. Like, oh, you talk about blockchain, I don't believe them. That not belief is just because like we don't have enough, like good project like that we can show our friends, right? Oh no, it's no, if they're getting better, we have this, we have that, they are building this, and I saw this as well. Just not enough, just not enough. Yep.
So we should take, I believe, El Salvador. Their currency is all Bitcoin now, and it seems like the El Salvador is pretty like improving economically and that kind of stuff. Of course, it'd be nice if it was a bigger country than El Salvador doing Bitcoin. Like
Yes.
maybe Germany or France
Yes.
have a bigger test case, but
Yes.
it seems like it's working there.
No, it's true. It's true. I don't know, but there's a lot of rumors, like a lot of the country out there like China, Russia, they all have a big share of, like how many Bitcoin they own in their reserve and
Yeah,
everything. Yeah.
yeah. Um. So what is a metaverse?
Ooh. I think I think metaverse, right? I think the original idea was uh it's where all of the, like how do I say, your sense, all of your sense, right? From look, smell, feel, everything all come together, and you can go across
Mhm.
dimension
Mhm.
and all kind of experience from look, from hearing to smell and everything. And I can tell you with that original, and you can communicate anywhere in the world. That's I think that's the foremost um, definition of the metaverse. And you know what? No one have be able to come very close to that original definition yet. I think even the sandbox or some of the so-called metaverse or like AR VR related experience out there, we try to solve a certain component of that
Yeah.
entire metaverse experience, but not everything yet. So for all of the boxes to be checked, you have to have you have to allow people to like put on the glasses and become a player one, go run somewhere, go disappear somewhere, become someone else like the avatar
Mhm.
or something like that. I think right now, for example, like the sandbox, we were able to, number one, help you to become a character that you like, right? So either you can become Smurf, you can become it is. So we're working with like global IP like Hellboy. So you become like Hellboy, you can become like we even like work with Paris Hilton as well. So you can become someone that you love, you like, or you idolize. So we check that box. We check the other box, which is like experience can be anywhere in the world as long as you have access into the internet. Right now, what we still have to, like figure out is, like multi-dimension, like experience. Like we so far not connected to the VR, AR yet, and role playing or something like that. It require a lot of, like tech back end from behind, and there will be other games really good at just putting on your glasses, VR and AR, but it doesn't allow you to become someone else. Stuff like that.
So what about the metaverse where like there's supposed like 100 versions of yourself, right? There's 100 universes and you have different versions of yourself each one.
Uh True, it's true. Actually, like within the sandbox itself, like you actually can create like your own avatar. So basically your profile pictures like
Mhm.
on the metaverse, right? And I think that particular, like avatar will represent you in the future and in the metaverse much more important than anything else, just like the wallets, because one of, I wouldn't say negative, but one of the interesting part about the blockchain technology is sometimes you won't be able to tell who is who behind certain wallets because all you see is like letters and numbers. So in the future, when blockchain industry actually growing and develop, you need to be able to match the wallet with certain people, right? So who is behind that wallet, for example? So these profile pictures, like in the metaverse, these avatar, actually the longer you use it, the more exposure this avatar experience in different like um metaverse, the more credible
Okay.
that people should be. Just like like when you go to the banks, your bank account, the more transaction you have done, more credible to you. If you never transact with a bank before, your credit score probably like almost like non-exist.
Mhm.
Um, so I think we're gonna see the similar, or like translation, like in the metaverse in the future as well. So, do you own like an avatar that like old enough, or is it like a newly created like yesterday? Should I trust you? Something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Gaming and e-gaming isn't like just gaming. Like what's the e-gaming?
Mm-mm. So I think the standard is normally when people put the E in front of the gaming, normally it means like e-sport. So meaning like there will be competition like between all of the gamers. So uh you can play that particular games, but when that game hosts a competition, it become an e-sport of that game. So people compete to, like go up top.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you talk about like I don't think a lot of people don't realize like how much money is in gaming? Like there's like sports leagues, like people can
It's
play in like
huge. It's
big
huge.
money. Like people have no idea how big e-gaming is, I
No,
don't
it's
think.
really huge. I think
And it's like worldwide too, right?
worldwide, absolutely. So
They have like big ass crowds and like
very
yeah.
big. So I think to be able to explain, right? I think that's where I think the sandbox try to head into, because we predict like a big future for gaming even on a blockchain as well, because it's already happening for the gaming in the traditional world. Um, Put it this way, Jason, sport is another stuff outside of sport that very easy for people to consume in terms of content. And like for gaming, sometimes you don't even have to play very well. You just love watching people play well, and it's your entertainment. And that's why, like a few countries like France and Korea, e-gaming, e-sport is actually $1 billion industry. Why? A lot of people viewing it, a lot of people are following it. So just like, you're watching, I'm from Dallas, right? We talk about SMU. Why are you watching Dallas Cowboys? Because it's American team, right? So people follow all of the logos on
The
it,
logos,
the
the
everything.
ads, you
So
know.
for esport, if you look at some photo of the player in the esport, the more famous they are, there's a lot of patch and logos on their, like jersey, just like F1. There's a lot of logo on the car. So advertising is huge, viewership is huge. So right in between of, like matches, you can have advertising, just like, Super Bowl advertising. It's very similar. It's very similar. And the thing is, you may not get this because I think it start becoming more like the thing for the younger generation, because young people tend to spend a lot of time on their phones and computer nowadays. Like they're moving away from traditional TV and radio to the radio. Well, uh, so of course, like games is always on these two platforms, like computer and mobile. So companies, even not gaming company, they will be able to impress the viewer, the people who hold the phones with their logo, if they sponsor the right content and the right, activities, for example. So the youngster may able to know about your brands just because you sponsor their favorite players, stuff like that. So that's why a lot of big money are going to that direction right now, because one of the easiest way for you to build a good, like branding story is through sport and through gaming and through entertainment. I think it has happening for past few decades. That's why, like a lot of, I don't know if you noticed, but because I'm a big, like in the US we call soccer, but like I'm a big soccer fans as well. So there's a lot of, like cryptocurrency sponsor on the jersey of famous club as well. So for example, like Bezos is on Manchester United shirt. Um, for Chelsea, it's Big X exchange, for example. So a lot of, like it's all about exposure. So they're choosing sport, they're choosing gaming, they're choosing entertainment and movies. I think for movie it has like happening forever. Like you sponsor the car, you sponsor the shirt, you sponsor the drink, right? So triple O seven are holding Heineken. So yeah. Product placement. Yes.
Product placement, yeah.
Yeah.
So like in America, like even you don't follow football, you know who Dak Prescott is, Pat Mahomes. Do you think the days ever come where like everyday people are gonna know these esports stars?
No, they already are. I think the industry is already exists. I mean, I think it's they uh they quite a kind of its own, right? So sometimes uh they just, if you don't know if it exists, then you don't know where is it. But the youngster, the people who are addicted to it, they know exactly where to find it. Um, and I think it's good that we brought up sport, right? It's not like the traditional sport team, they're not exploring the Web3 angle. I think Sandbox is a clear example of it. I think right now the Sandbox, we're working with like famous sport IP, the Napoli FC in Italy, like the soccer team, like the one like Maradona is playing. We're also working with uh, the Shin Tae-yong, which is the Korean Indonesian soccer coach. Then we also are doing like a few other sport IP as well. Like I think Camelo or yeah, NBA got Camelo. We got a basketball game for him
Okay.
in the sandbox as well. Yeah.
Nice.
So they are start slowly exploring this angle. Why, Jason? Go back to that NFT example that you mentioned. So put it this way, not every like celebrity IP besides, like perform like singing, acting in movie, acting in advertising. They would like to explore a new way to make new revenue stream. So when it comes to NFT or blockchain, we have something called new digital collectibles revenue. So if you're famous, right? I'm Dak Prescott. I'm gonna mint, like let's say 100 NFT of Dak Prescott card, for example, and I sell it for like $1,000. Oh yeah, we did. I think Kun Ariguro of Argentina, we did a collection for him, and you know how much is one NFT worth? Around $4,000, like for the very premium one. And of course, like for you to own that NFT, there will be some benefits to go together with it. So either you get like a free shirt, jersey signed by Kun Ariguro to go together with it, or in the case of Napoli FC, you get one free ticket to go to see the team as well. So it's all about the utility that you put inside the NFT. That if I own that NFT, I should owns all of the benefits within that NFT.
Okay. From your point of view, what's too early for someone to be playing games? Like 4 years old, 5 years old, 8 years old? What's like a
I only can say I think it's getting younger and younger every time. I think a lot of people when they do research, they see that actually the sandbox is quite, I mean, it gives them the similarity feeling that they're looking at Roblox and Minecraft. And that two games are very famous along the youngster and teenage. Uh, I have a lot of friends that, like they tell me that they have to keep giving their kids, like a couple $100 every month to buy stuff within the Roblox
yeah,
so that they can build better castle,
yeah.
stuff like that. So number one, it's the creator power economy that's happening right now, and Sandbox is in the exactly the same industry with all of that. Um, and in a sense, like it really creating these creativity among like the kids early as well, and together with the esport, they see that like actually if you're really good at gaming or really good at creating games, you make a hefty paycheck actually. So it become more and more clear that it can be a viable career, because I think this is very different. I think I grew up in Asia, like as a kid. I think we tend to get taught that gaming is not good for you. We got that, but the older I get and the more chance I go see the world, right? Actually, it's the opposite way. I never know if I actually got a chance to encounter these gaming or sort of like creator tool or metaverse definition at the early age. Um, I don't know how creative I can be, because I didn't got chance to really get in touch with all of that until quite late during my teenage age. Uh, what if, right? I got, like exposed to all of this because I think I didn't touch the first phones until when I did my high school in Singapore. So like when I was like 15, 16, and compared with the US, I think that's very late. I mean, kids normally got phone like eight.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6, 7, 8, something like that.
Yeah. So a lot of people they use, I think the for live streaming games is Twitch,
Mm.
Kick, YouTube. I don't know if there's any other ones. Like, do you have any like preferences? Like,
We do. So for crypto, there's two upcoming and quite existing, and I think one of them is you already know, which is Twitter X.
okay.
I think X, um, together with the bought out by Elon Musk,
Mm.
I think it's become sort of like the crypto island right now, like
Okay.
platform, because I think Elon Musk is very pro crypto in a way, and all of the like the crypto cowboys, Wild Wild West, we feel like Twitter is still the safest way
Mhm.
for us to express our knowledge, express our opinion. So it's still like a kingdom for them on Twitter. So yeah, people do
Okay.
play and streaming
Mhm.
on X. That's number one. And the second one is Discord.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
always forget about Discord.
Woo.
I always forget about Discord.
Yeah, I'm still get busy within Discord as well. So, because I think Discord right now is still preferred by more by the gamer actually. So, um, game community being curate around Discord. Like play together, streaming, even sandbox. We do a lot of stuff on the Discord, and you always can split your fans, your community, your market into specific rooms. So like, oh, this room is for Vietnam, this
Yeah.
room is for US,
Yeah.
this room is for Singapore. Just the way that it has been designed, it's very convenient for a gaming company or project company to really split your community and manage it very precisely with different category.
Is Twitch like still like the number one platform though? Is that like the most famous, so to
I
speak, most
think it's still
performing?
among the popular. I mean, it depends on some market. It's either like it's still in the top three or it should be still at number one. Yes.
Then how about YouTube? I think YouTube got into gaming like recently.
Uh,
They're probably way far behind. You think
I don't
they'll
know,
catch
but
up
I
or?
mean, I know that gaming feature, streaming feature always available on the YouTube, but I think right now, I mean, at least in Vietnam, right? When I observe, I go to coffee shop, I see kids that watching more like recording of, like gaming and stuff on YouTube, rather than sometime live stream. So I think
Okay.
it depends
So
on,
people are still playing the game on Twitch and then uploading the video into YouTube.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what else did if you talk about, if you mention about YouTube, you have to mention about Facebook as well.
Mhm.
I think all of all of the like social platform, YouTube and Facebook and even Twitter, they see that like stickiness that gaming and live streaming bringing in
Mhm.
like to their platform. So I think Facebook has tirelessly keep fighting to show that feature, because every few months I see they coming out with like updated feature for the gaming streaming.
Yeah.
But
See, I didn't
so
know.
far, but yeah, you didn't know,
I
right?
didn't know Facebook
But
had gaming.
so far they do. I think if you scroll on your menu, right, there will be a gaming function, and if you like slide it, so it will show on your like main button. But that's the point, like. And I mean, they supposed to have the best advantage, right? Because 8 billion people on Earth, I
Yeah.
think 6 billion of them
Yeah.
already on Facebook.
Yeah.
So, and it's look like they have unlimited, like sort of data storage for you to store anything that you want on there as well.
Yeah.
But that's so funny, right? So people still stuck into Facebook for like photo sharing, chatting, but then when they play game, they go to the other place. So
Yeah.
they don't tend to stay
I
in
never
Facebook.
had. I had no idea.
You should check it out. And of course, like I don't think the product is poor. I think the product is great, but people somehow, and that's the best part of like emerging product, right? You never know which one is the right formula until you try it.
Yeah. The thing, bad thing about Facebook, whether it's deserved or not, somehow they became known as a old people social media, right? Like,
You're right. You're right.
my older aunts in the 70s, like that's a community on Facebook. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone under the age of 30 I could talk to on Facebook.
So Vietnam is still a very very big Facebook country, but I think I belong to that Facebook group as well. So the younger, like my intern, my staff, they're no longer on Facebook. They feel like they want to get on a more discreet, like more cooler platform. So right now, the kids will be more on Instagram.
Yeah.
The upcoming one,
TikTok,
Thread.
Threads.
That's yeah. It's a
That's
spin up product by Instagram as
yeah.
well. And then yeah, I mean TikTok is always there. TikTok is always
Yeah.
there.
How about so I'm on TikTok a lot. I recently know a lot of TikTok live gaming going on TikTok. Is that a thing that's gonna be a big thing or
I think right now, especially in Vietnam, uh, Not so much, not so
Okay.
much. I think there's still more like news and like stupid dancing, sport, and so for Vietnam, it's short consuming content.
Mhm.
I don't know the other market because different market it will come out with different insight, and the mechanism of TikTok will make sure that it will supply the right content for that market. So they do not carry the same formula cross market. Yeah.
So do you have like a number one social media platform, like either for business or personal you like it's like your go-to for either personal or business?
Right now, I think Vietnam for cryptocurrency, it's still very much on Facebook too.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Um, so business wise, in Vietnam, it's on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You found me on
Yeah.
LinkedIn. Then Facebook, um, it's both for business and personal use, and like especially for crypto as well. So cryptocurrency in Vietnam, it's Facebook, it's Twitter, and LinkedIn. I use those three
Okay.
the most.
And are you still doing any angel investing?
I do, I do,
Do
I
you
do.
so you talk like a big picture, like what you look for? Like you is it like a certain vertical you invest in? Is it you invest more in the product, the founder, or like
Of course, right? It always have to, I mean, the founder always have to be there. It has to be someone that I vest through, have heard of him, have existing track record, something like that. But then when it comes to, especially now, AI and cryptocurrency, I really look out for that, like cool, amazing ideas that, but it seems doable. I mean, like sometimes too much of a crazy ideas, you never
you're
deliver
like
it.
you can't be like, hey, I'm gonna start an AI bank on Mars in 2 years.
Yeah. So right now, like my secret source for angel investment will be that um I look out for really uh independent like founding team who may survive without my involvement. So when I get involved, it's only making them stronger. That's number one. Number two, they are envision something that does solve something in particular, or it's a concept that it's logical and can be done. Uh, and either not enough solution right now in the market or it doesn't exist yet. But I mean, the second part, it sounds very hard because um, it's hardly nowadays that you can come up with something that people haven't thought of it, like so it's not that easy. Um, so right now, I think my flavor are still a bit, I mean, very much in the cryptocurrency blockchain product. So I do invest in a gaming infrastructure product right now, also on the blockchain. Um, an AI, a decentralized AI platform. Yes. Uh, a drop shipping project. So you see, like it's everywhere. Um, but as long as you solve certain issue in the market, you have a chance.
And you only invest in Vietnam or other countries?
I do invest and help project like outside of Vietnam as well because so I originally from Vietnam, but I operate in different market in APAC for the past 5 7 years. So if good project popping up, I hardly say no.
Okay, so of course it's not as simplistic as this,
Mm-mm.
but like, suppose someone's pitching you for the first time. Like, what would be a green flag for you to say, okay, I might be interested, and what would be a red flag? So, okay, I'm not gonna waste my time anymore.
I think you mentioned about it already. I think like if we in a certain industry long enough, you can have that feeling like, hey, you're too crazy, man. I mean,
Yeah.
like, and sometimes, I mean, there will be 1% that you're missing out a completely crazy genius guy. There's a 1%. But if you understand deeply enough about the technology, sometimes the legal part, and sometimes the macro economies of everything, you cannot replace the government, you cannot replace the bank. I mean, too crazy of a concept, right? I mean, and it's too big for small team. If you're coming from big conglomerate and you give me an idea that yes, we're gonna disrupt that. Okay, let me hear more. So it's really coming down to the common sense of the idea, and sometimes like what happening in these fast-paced emerging tech is that people may forget, or people may not know that how well people understand about technology sometimes. And like it's like I'm gonna throw at you all kind of like wagons and well, to make you not understand like
Yeah.
this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to the moon and coming back and everything. uh yeah, so if you sound too crazy, then that's a that's a red flag.
So this is craziest one I ever heard, right?
Uh-huh.
And so I was at this pitch competition and people were pitching, right? And this guy, he's like in his 50s, 60s. He had a PhD in physics.
Mm.
Like really like background academics.
Mm-mm.
And like everything he said makes sense, right? It's like, okay, this it sounds like it works, right?
Mm-mm.
He was trying to raise $100 million to
Wow.
build an escalator to the moon.
Oh wow. Okay.
And like, and when he briefed it, it's like, man, this shit makes fucking sense. Like he was like all this parameters and safety and all this stuff. Like we're like, escalator to the moon, that's ain't no fucking way, right?
Uh-uh.
But like the way he, like his background, physics, academics, they're like, it makes sense, right? Like we're like, that ain't no fucking way. That's
um
the crazy batshit
so
story I
I
had.
I think there always good strategy around that. So a unique statement always make people remember about your project. I think that's a pretty cool, like I built an elevator to the moon, but
And this like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, still in my
yeah.
mind. I can remember like it was
and
yesterday.
and uh but and we have a saying, like sometimes you shoot for the moon and you get somewhere in between.
Yeah.
uh Whatever measurement he put up for that, it may, it's insane to build, like what actually he's selling, but it give Elon, like Elon Musk, like some ideas like, this is how I should build my, like spaceship room. Like
Mhm.
around these measurement or something like that. So you never know, but absolutely that's insane.
Yeah.
you I mean you remember the story how people making the sticky notes for the first time.
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was it wasn't mean
Yeah.
by
No,
that,
no, it
it
wasn't.
wasn't
No,
mean by that.
no, no.
So people was thinking about different ideas and they do that, they put the wrong ratio in, bam, you have sticky notes. So but sometimes no, but sometimes I encounter people like that. um and sometimes it's a waste of time, but it's good to see that people are passionate
Yeah.
and they fighting for what they believe. uh so sometimes it's entertain, and sometimes you like that fire in them,
Yeah.
but yeah, maybe
You gotta have a touch really
maybe we
little.
just not smart enough to
Yeah.
get what you mean,
Yeah.
like so.
Maybe you've been born 20 years in the future or something, you know.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So talk about the startup ecosystem in Vietnam. So
Mm-mm,
like this is my second time here. Like
mm-mm,
you can definitely, it's in the air. It's something here, right? Can you talk
mm-mm.
about how the startup ecosystem is going right now?
Uh, I think if you look at a lot of the statistic out there, I think Vietnam startup ecosystem is one of the most vibrant and sounding active, and looking it like it's very active as a market right now in Southeast Asia or in APAC. Because of many reasons, I think it's a young, hungry population with a lot of smart people. And I think the economy is still doing so well that it pushing all of the youngster to either try to come out with, like new ideas or replicate successful ideas from other market into, like the local market. Um, but I can clearly tell you um, the biggest challenge right now for the typical, I would say, like the general startup ecosystem in Vietnam is if you if they look at the local market and compare with like Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore, I personally, and this is not a statement, I personally think it's the market is less uh, like ready to incubate local startup compared with the other country that I mentioned. So I think big corporates, they still tend to prefer, like uh, a international solution uh, compared with like a local homebrew solution, something like that. And the accessibility to existing capital locally is not as good as like Indonesia, uh, Thailand, Malaysia, or Singapore, whereas the government and the corporates, they understand the concept of open innovation, so they're actually putting out a lot of funding and resource to incubate these early um, innovator, so that eventually they may have access into these solution in the future.
Are there like incubators, accelerators here, like in the states where like YC, Techstars, Vibrant Startups? Is there anything like that
They
here?
they are they are, but I think again
I know
they
that I know F Finance Institute is here, so I know FI is here.
yes we have a few local incubator like that, and even like I think ecosystem wise we have every single type of VC uh along the line, like
Mhm.
early stage angel, VC, uh even like Series A, Series B. We do have that, but the I would say, like the VC market are much more conservative here in Vietnam, rather than, like the other country. And it does carry, I mean, like I think they have experienced some, I would say, bad experience sometimes to be that conservative. I have talked about the painful part, but I also need to say that compare, because I have a chance to work in really different country in a ASEAN, for example. First time founder or existing founder from Vietnam tend to be less equipped with, like mental toughness as well as essential, uh, like corporate management skill
Yeah.
to make sure that their startups survive and sustain and grow safely, compared with like, like well educated.
Yeah, I joke around. I sometimes say that if you want to be a founder, you take some kind of mental health test first, because you got to be a little crazy.
And like, so it's not exactly, like the VC fault, but sometimes I think for the past 10 years, the past 20 years, these VC have tried and see that, I mean, the ratio is really, I mean, for me, for them, the ratio is really that small. So that's how much exactly I look into this market, because the local founders hasn't done enough
Mhm.
to change my mind in a way. And I think when you look at the startup ecosystem like that, it will be fascinating how the crypto startups booming in Vietnam. You didn't realize that.
No, I did not.
Um, so I have mentioned to you about the challenge of getting funds for local, like let's say startups, for example, because you have to depend on the supply, the funding for from the local VC to grow to the next stage and everything. But when you bring that into the cryptocurrency and blockchain, what has changed in the model? If you have a good product concept, if you can build something that meaningful, you don't depend on the local VC supply. You can raise fund, you can get funding support from anywhere in the world. So for the same quality of founders, very good developer in Vietnam, Vietnam has been able to build quite a few quality, top notch, like project out there according to the global standard. So a lot of the good project. So I'm gonna give shout out to Axie Infinity is actually built in Vietnam.
I know that.
You didn't know that, right?
No,
So
no.
so the CEO of Axie Infinity is Vietnamese, and they have the entirely developer team here in Vietnam. It's a product built by the Vietnam people. It's just that their company and their project register somewhere else, but the talents that build the project are Vietnamese people. And then there will be other project that also famous in the crypto currency space will be like Kyber Network, Coin 98. These are, like project has been well known globally. And these people, these project, they're not depends on the local funding anymore. They just go straight to, hey, global audience, we are building this. If you love our idea, put a bit of investment in us, and hopefully we can be great in the future.
I know, cause all these like big time tech companies coming here, like Microsoft's coming here and NVIDIA's coming here. I think they build on data center. Like, pretty much any big names coming to Vietnam now, right?
Everyone, you didn't know, right? I think so. Ubisoft have a very big, like gaming design team here in Vietnam in Da Nang. No one knows about it. Samsung already have like a
Yeah.
very big factory in the north. NVIDIA coming. They sign our strategic agreement with the government. They're coming. Yeah, all kind of tech company they're here, and I think they try to build. They all try to build chips and stuff. But it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
So, how many startups have you invested in so far?
I think like every season, like maybe two or three, like per cycle, something
Okay.
like that. Because my
And a
my
cycle per year?
maybe
Okay.
every 10 months, or
Okay.
it can be, yeah,
Okay.
like a year, probably a
Okay.
year. So my investment model, it's just my way of doing it is uh it could be both money plus a lot of like advisory, because like I feel like these startups just missing a bit of like DNA to be like invincible, invincible. So you adding that missing last piece of DNA, they will be successful. What make a successful startup different from a newborn startup? Failure. The more you run it, the more challenge you have seen, right? So you just want to make sure that the incoming startup, you need to know what I have stepped into before and avoid it. And I think that's bring a lot of value to these startups.
Is there any startup that you're with right now that you invested in now that you're excited about that you want to talk about for a little bit?
Mm, Yes, I think the two that I mentioned to you. So one of them are like a gaming like infrastructure for Web3 games. It's called Aragon, and the other project called Santa Pocket, which is a drop shipping uh project. Each of them solves very specific like problem in the local market. I think I start with like Santa Pocket. Um, I would not say, like compare with the US, right? So in the US, depend on the state and depend on the city. Sometimes, like when UPS and, like shipment, right? They just leave the parcel in front of your door. It's safe. No one gonna touch it and everything, right? But in Vietnam, it may be not that secure for your goods and, like parcel to be safely be in front of your door. So the Santa Pocket project is simply creating these, like smart locker at residential area where shipper can coming in, unlock your locker and drop your stuff inside and lock it, but everything by QR code. So only you can open your own locker. So no one can actually touch anything inside um of your stuff. So because most people like going and to work every day, so the smart locker will receive stuff and send stuff for you on behalf of you. So it's one of the project, and I think uh, if I don't know if you noticed, but logistic cost is one of the uh, very big, like business cost right now in Vietnam because of the complexity in the logistic system, transportation and stuff like that. Yeah.
So when you invest in a startup, how do you provide value? Like, do you help coach the startup founders up? You there 24/7 to give advice? Like, how do you provide
So
value?
my way of doing it is like number one is to become their cross check, like verifier. So uh, at the intersection, they go left or right. You would like to check with me and consult with me, and we can agree like let's go right, right? I mean left. We're gonna see all of this. Um, so they have someone to cross check their decision with number one, and it's not always cross check, but also stepping into the direction that they have no exposure before. Like where do we set up our company, what sort of license we should acquire, what would be the token models, how much should we evaluate our company and stuff like that. Then I going in more like a internal counselor for the company to build up these, like model and everything. So besides the cash, I actually invest my I brands into this project as well to make sure that they hit certain milestone, for example. Yep.
Has it ever happened? And if you did, if you didn't, how do you handle it? Like, suppose you invest in a startup, but you had to tell the founder team, hey, like, I believe in you, I invested money, but
Mm-mm.
since then, the things you've done have made me not believe in you, right?
Mm.
And I don't know if I should still be involved or if you should still be a startup. Like,
I think it can happen like both way. I have cases where I do the same, like put in advisory, putting my pocket money in. The project collapsed like in 6 months, together with some of my friends' money as well. So, but luckily, I think at least the friends that I because when I join this project, I tend to really believe in the founders and the concept of the project itself. So I do promote it and I do um, protect the idea as well. But that's why it's called a VC, right? It's venture capital. So
yeah, VC,
there's
not,
a lot of risk,
yeah,
like doing.
VC, not small business banking.
Yeah, and it's the VC always have that risk in their names already. So when you do invest, uh, even the most experienced VC out there, I mean, there's a lot of risk. Yeah.
So, what is the Vietnam National Startup Investment Fund?
So back then it was just like like an initiative was created to build a program that we try to solve that particular issue that I mentioned to you, that building that bridge for the local startup in Vietnam to have better accessibility to extra funding, because sometimes the local VC they tend to have certain ratio what they are looking for. So sometimes we have to create enough exposure and bridge, like to help local startup to have access and exposure to uh, regional VC, for example. Yep.
Okay. So next, talk about your role at Sandbox. I think you're like director of partnerships or director of growth for Sandbox.
One man do it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to. So I'm the head of growth for the Sandbox, and so basically you're taking care of business, you onboarding like brands and IPs and company into the metaverse. So exactly what we just talked about, like company, traditional company, they will ask like, okay, Chris, you're working for the metaverse company, right? What is that? What can we do with them, right? So this is how we run our business nowadays. Um, we what can we do? I mean, if we're adding sandbox into our future, what can it done? Uh, so we have to provide advisory uh, for this brand, how they can build certain stuff on the metaverse, and execute the strategy together with them. And sometimes what it means is build for them an experience that represent their color, their brands, and help them to sell their NFT and stuff like that. So whatever the business are doing, they're just doing slightly differently in the metaverse as well. So Sandbox is helping those company to do those, like new digital activities.
Is there a preferred industry? Like, do you prefer like construction companies come to
Not
Sandbox
really,
or
not
like
really, not really.
anything?
So right now, like highly likely, like because I have to go back to point zero, which is like there's still a gap between, like people actually understand about Web3 and blockchain and even gaming to get into the industry. So the smartest way for the sandbox working with brands is we're working with brands that already have a huge amount of fans, community. They love the brand so much that they're willing to explore new type of experience on a new horizon, new platform, which is the sandbox. um, so sport, entertainment, movies, are all kind of stuff, and even business as well. So we're working with like big financial conglomerate as well. So we're working with like PwC, HSBC, banks, uh, anyone, and Regal Hotel, to build like a smart, like green hotel, the first one in the metaverse.
And what games do you play? Do you play any games?
Um, I do play sandbox for I mean like to get to know this brand better for one. And I do play like PlayStation in the past as well, when like FIFA soccer and everything was like easier to play, because nowadays it's so hard to play because you have to practice like a couple hours every day to be good at it. Yeah.
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 So what do you do for fun?
Right now, like we have a saying that like crypto never sleep, and actually it really never sleep. So I always feel not enough time
Mhm.
surrounding by the blockchain initiative. Um, I do enjoy traveling, and
You still playing soccer?
I do
Okay.
sometimes. I'm still a very big sport like guy. So whenever I have chance to run, play some
Mhm.
sport with friends, I will do. I will do. Yeah.
And then how do you take care of yourself, either physically, mentally, spiritually, or whatever that means to you? How do you take care of yourself? Or
Uh,
not take care of yourself,
no, no,
just
I
in
do, I
case.
do, I do, I do. I think be able to take care of yourself is a must for people out there to become successful startup runner or founder, investor, whatever you want to do with the startup life. Um, it's not a easy path. If you want to choose something stabilized, simple, easy,
Yeah.
let's not do that.
Yeah.
It's the exactly opposite of that.
Yeah.
Um, and mentally I'm a bit of Buddhist, and I listen to a lot of like why wisdom from like a lot of the lecturer, because sometimes they teach you and help you to unlock like some
Mhm.
philosophy in you, like the way that you treat people, the way you treat the process, the way you treat like people around you. And I think it's very true, because a lot of the startup that I working in this season, this cycle, we have been together a couple times in the back. We do something, we fail together, but then new idea coming back again, we do it again. So that's the relationship and the exposure that you have chance to work with these founder, and you understand that sometimes it's all about luck and the right timing for them to like make a good like big jump. It doesn't mean that they're not capable with. Yep. And I got one tips, like I think, thank you for saying like you look mentally and like physically fit or something like that. A lot of the hardworking people out there, my definition is slightly different. I think when you working a lot and when you feel tired, people tend to not exercise and working out enough. I give you this theory. I give you this very interesting theory. Is it true that when people are feel tired because of working, we tend to go sleep or get rest right away? That's what normally people do. I kind of find out the other way to do it. When I extremely exhausted and tired sometime, what I will try to do is I will try to go and burn the remaining energy that I have uh, for that day through working out or running, just walking, build, I mean, like burn all of that, like energy, I mean, remaining energy, so that, like if I'm a phone and a battery, I have the complete, like empty shell
Okay.
to recharge for
Yeah.
the next day.
Yeah.
And you will be surprised that actually after you running around, move yourself a little bit,
Mhm.
you actually feel more refreshed
Mhm.
than you think. You just have to get out of that. Oh, I'm so tired. And you just need to get through that and get yourself
Yeah.
in, like where you can exercise and sweat it out.
Mhm.
You probably regain energy right away.
Okay.
And people don't notice that because people feel like I'm exhausted for the day.
Yeah. I
I
need to
shouldn't
sleep.
have
Yeah.
any bar left for exercise or even running around. Try it and tell me if your experience is the same. And try to keep that like good balance of eating healthy, work out a bit, have a good have eat good enough sleep, because like I have small children as well, and in Vietnam having small children meaning that you have to wake up quite early to take them to school and go through all of that traffic, like so my and with all of the startup as well, I feel like my day is much longer
Mhm.
than a lot of the people. And I think even if I look around my friends, I think their days are pretty much done around 5 p.m. Like when you're done with, like office hour, I don't think we're done until like midnight or something
Yeah.
like that. So it, it's not like job. I mean, like task is over. I mean, like there's only like you you're done with the time for that day, and then tomorrow you wake up, you do it again. And I think that energy that I carry, I mean, like I don't know if that's what you talk about. I think I have that energy because I'm doing what I like right now, and I feel passionate about doing it. I don't think people will carry the same type of energy if you stuck into something that you like bored to death
Yeah.
or something like that. So again, understand your system and do something that you really like. I think you will be equipped with like more than enough energy to run around.
So what do you think that passion is coming from for you?
Hmm. Uh, I think in a way, I see myself as a startup, Jason. So I'm hungry for new knowledge. I'm hungry for exposed to new ideas, and I'm passionate about like building proper relationship and support friends and startup around me, uh, and just like the like the satisfaction meters of people, right? You feel good when you were able to do those kind of things, like learn something new, be able to apply it, helping people to solve certain stuff, win big together, make good money together, something like that. So, and I think one of the area that I feel like you like that feeling when you're putting effort and you see result. And sometimes it can means anything, like effort in exercise return good energy, fresher energy the next day, putting in effort like money in a project, getting back more return, like P&L. So I think that's a formula that it does create good, like energy, like keep recreating every day, something like that. So talking to, that's why like I take effort to talking to you as
Yeah.
well. I think it's the same. It's the
Yeah.
same. I think hardly like such a, I mean, like a random conversation, a new guy that adding you on LinkedIn and hey, I'm from this and I'm doing a podcast. Are
Yeah.
you in or not? I mean, like, and we're talking about 2 hours podcast.
Yeah.
So not everyone will be like, oh no, I'm busy.
Yeah.
If you talk to really
Yeah.
busy guy, like, yeah, maybe I don't have enough time, but hey, you know what? He's coming all the way from the US. Let's go. And I didn't even know that, like you kind of grew up in Dallas as well. So
Yeah.
we have a fun conversation.
Yes.
Who knows,
Yes.
right? Who knows?
Yeah. So from your point of view, what's something you wish like the person around the world knew about Vietnam?
Hmm. Like people that never know about Vietnam,
Mhm.
maybe we are such a fun country, a fun, very exciting economy with extremely good food and good place to travel. But get ready for chaos. Ah, like I have a chance to really contrast a few country very clearly, like US. I've been there, a bit laid back, very nice
Mhm.
living, like New Zealand, like super extremely laid back. But I feel like I'm missing out that chaos in Asia and particularly in Vietnam, because I have this joke with like my American friends, like hey, I don't know, but I think number one, Asian economies is booming really well right now, and I think Vietnam is top of mind, when it comes to the top performing economy right now in Asia. But I feel like, like back in the US, especially in Europe as well, I feel like things are become more predictable and systematic. Are you get bored? You know, like that's the energy that you feel like you're missing out. Are you getting bored like going into the like an environment like that? But in Vietnam, in Asia, in Vietnam, in China, I guarantee you every single day will be different for you. Like in Vietnam, when you get out of house, my gosh, like traffic completely different from day to day. Um, breakfast wise, they sell every different stuff every day as well. So you never know what is waiting for you, like on the way to work that day and everything. It's just a metaphor, right? But the market itself is just amazing. I mean, like that's where, like opportunity are coming from all different angles, challenge as well, but good relationship, like good friends, partnership. I think it's just fascinating. And the best thing is you can do all of that in such a fast growing economy because you don't want to get chaos
Mm,
in a regressing economy.
no,
It's not going to be fun in Japan. It's not going to be fun in Japan.
no,
I
no,
think
no.
we're talking about similar chaos, but my God, I don't think people will enjoy
Because
Japan that much. Yeah.
like the population is declining, they're getting
Yeah.
older, like
Mm-mm.
all the numbers are not going the right way.
Yeah. So the fun part is, like you can do all of that in a pretty exciting market. So I think I think just a year apart now, Jason, you're coming back. I think you start and you live in the right area as well, like District 2. You start seeing more and more expat all over around. I mean, sometimes when I go to this area, I feel like, am I stepping into Hong Kong or Singapore,
Yeah.
something like that?
So like 2 or 3 weeks ago, so I'm here with my friends.
Mm-mm.
They both live in Seattle with me.
Mm-mm.
Mina is actually from here. He's from Laos, right? I was joking one day, like, Dan, I'm seeing more white people in my neighborhood than like
Compared to
Vietnamese. Yeah.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
oh, if I want to see a white people, I'll just stay to Seattle, you know?
Yeah, 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 yeah. So, and it's not a, like overstatement that, like if you make good living in Ho Chi Minh, you can have access into all kind of good international food
Mm-hmm.
here in Vietnam. Even I'm compared with
Yeah.
Seattle. I mean, they just have a gauge for, like food
Yeah.
and hospitality and yeah, it's amazing. It's
And
amazing.
one thing too, I'll say you have not lived. Oh, you don't know what the term excitement and fear is until you rode on the back of a motorbike through
Ooh,
a Ho Chi
that's
Minh traffic jam.
like going with that, I have a always, like making fun that if you can drive in Vietnam, you can drive anywhere,
Yeah.
bro. Like normally, like in country, right? You should look at left, look at right for like incoming
Hmm.
vehicle. I joke like like in Vietnam, you look at 8 different directions.
Yeah.
It can go like left, right,
Yeah.
360,
You have to
180, 120, anywhere.
anticipate,
Yeah, anticipating. So I think if you really enjoy Vietnam, your like your reflex is
yeah,
getting better.
yeah,
Like in life, in
yeah,
career, you have to be fast, you have to be quick, you have to be decisive.
yeah,
I think that's how
yeah.
I feel about
When I
Vietnam.
first got last, I was scared to sit across the street.
Uh-huh.
Now I call it the walk of death, right?
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
I
yeah.
do it like it's nothing, right? Just cross
Yeah.
the street, like here's cars coming, this car's here, or like yeah,
Like I think walking, you mean crossing the
cross the
street?
street, cross the street. Yeah,
I think it feel like
I
it's
call it the walk of death.
like like Bruce Lee, they have this, he got this statement like be water, and it's feel like
Yeah,
you
like
actually,
yeah,
like you feel like actually, like it's just that you will feel brave enough to make
mhm,
that step.
yeah,
The moment you step further,
mhm,
the water start paving
yeah,
around
yeah,
you.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you will be surprised that, when you start walking the street, the car that you see like approaching you,
yeah.
they're actually making wave
Yeah,
around
and the
you.
key is like you can't like start slow and run fast. You got to be the same pace.
Yes, 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 yes. You have to be predictable in your step, right?
Yeah,
So you just move steadily.
because they're
Don't move,
anticipating you too.
don't make like sudden move, right? Because
Yeah,
people won't be able to react to that. Just walk slowly and keeping the same speed. Yes.
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, Vietnam's a different good place. So this happened to me yesterday, right? Then this is my how this is my perspective of Vietnam, right? So I was getting a tattoo yesterday, right?
Mm-mm.
So like, because I had my 57th birthday here on December 18th.
Right.
So December 26th, my tattoo, the lady says, "Hey, um, you had your birthday?" I say, "Yeah, I wouldn't like December 18th, right?"
Uh-huh.
"Oh, what's your name?" I said, "Jason Cabinets." "Okay." And so 30 minutes to get my tattoo, they come in with a birthday cake, saying me happy
Oh,
birthday. It was like so touching, right, man. And to me, that's like the mentality of Vietnam, right? Like, you don't know me, I'm paying you some money. That's like they took their time, they'll give me a freaking birthday cake, right?
yeah, yeah.
And they videotaped it right, and like put it on social media, like it was so cool, right? Like,
I, I,
wow.
I strongly believe with that as well. I think Vietnam hospitality is one of the best.
Mhm.
I mean, like that's why like I mean, we still have a lot of improvement. We still can solve in terms of tourism. Like showing people the way around English. Like availability and
Yeah,
everything. But I think the hospitality and the welcomeness, I
yeah.
think it's always there, and it's very easy for people to a foreign friend to feel like home or
Hmm.
even like second home. Like, oh my
Yeah,
gosh, I mean, just first day drinking all together, like they already make us
yeah,
like feel like home.
yeah,
And yeah, yeah.
yeah. So, Chris, anything I should have asked you that I haven't asked you yet, or anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think we talk like all kind of directions
Yeah,
today, just like the traffic in Vietnam. Yeah.
yeah, cool. Can you share your social media or ways for people to reach out to you?
Yes. So people can follow me on LinkedIn like Cris D Tran. And on Twitter it's gonna be C-T-Dragon. So follow me on LinkedIn. Or actually I think like I will comment on Jason post with my
Mhm.
like LinkedIn and my Twitter. So people, if they want to follow, if you're going to Vietnam, catch me up. Or if you have something cool that you build, hit me up as well.
And then we talked about a lot of things, but can you give us any last minute advice on anything you want to talk about?
Um, I think we talk maybe two. I think the two area that we talk quite a lot today. One is cryptocurrency, and the other one is maybe like investment in startups. So I think for cryptocurrency, my one advice will be that it's a very attractive and upcoming opportunity, but be careful and do your own research and research really deeply to understand the uh, the backbones of the matters and everything. You won't be able to master it without proper like try to understand the matters. That's number one. Number two, for startups out there, be realistic and step by step with what you are believing, and yeah, don't go too crazy, especially if we coming from, I mean, like for Vietnam startup, I think if we coming from a uh, a market that hasn't been known for like highly quality and successful startup, I think we have to start small and be humble in like sharing our vision, because we haven't got that many successful story to be able to brag about as a nation. So be humble and be realistic with your ideas. Yep.
Chris, thanks for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jason. It was amazing.
And to the listeners, thanks for listening to Jason Cabot Experience. And if you're working to unfuck the earth, Earth BC wants to talk to you. Thanks for your time and remember to be great every day.